agenda of the church, which is a part of our vision here at Judah, is to lead people back to God and help them live the best life they possibly can live. And in order for us to do this, there has to be an authentic community. It has to be an authentic community. Paul says in 1 Corinthians 1 and 10, now I beseech you, brethren, by the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, that ye all speak the same thing, and that there be no division among you, but that ye be perfectly joined together in the same mind and in the same judgment. Somebody shout unity. There has to be unity. If you were to place a man into a wilderness all by himself, more than likely that man would not survive in that wilderness. However, if that same man was in the wilderness alongside of a friend with the same goal, which is to get out of the wilderness, more than likely they both will make it out alive. Why? Because they learn to draw strength from one another. Why? Because they learn how to lean on one another. Excuse me, the Lone Ranger was really not alone. He had Tonto. Ask your neighbor, who is your Tonto? And sometimes we can tell who your Tonto is. Another sermon, another day. We can tell just how you walk. Who is your Tonto? We can tell how you live your life. The Acts 2 church excelled in cultivating an authentic community. They devoted themselves to the church and to each other. Verse number 42 says they devoted themselves to fellowship. They held everything in common. They broke bread together in each other's house. They came to the temple and they were glad to see each other. They had a sincere heart and a love for one another. Aren't you glad when you get up on Sunday and you walk into the doors, you see your fellow saints and you're just glad to see them, happy to see them. You call them during the week, see how they doing, see what's going on in your life, and you ask them, is there anything that we need to pray about? Is there something that I can go to God? Oh, aren't you glad you're like that? That's how it should be, and that's how the church in Acts 2 was. They cultivated an authentic community. One of the things you will discover when you get involved in a really good church is the church isn't a building you go to. It's really a family of believers. It's a family that you belong to. And for every person in the family, the center of the family is usually small groups. Usually families, they usually, if you come from a large family, like I've come from, my grandmother had 16, 8 boys, 8 girls. I come from a large family, and our family units, we grew up in shifts, so we're close, and we are closer to some because of the shifts. Like my cousin back there, Kimberly is my first cousin's daughter. And so we came up in different shifts. So even the family, it's about the small groups. It's about that belonging to one another. And which is why we as a church, we encourage every member. Do y'all remember? We encourage every member to join a ministry, which enables us as a group or as a ministry, then as a church, to grow spiritually. We learn spiritual truths, and in this process, we come to the place where we can know and be known. We come to a place where we can love and be loved, and we come to a place where we can celebrate and then be celebrated. So, how do we experience authentic community? Number one, you make time for it. Everybody say, make time for it. Make time for your church. Make time for it. This is how they did it. You have to commit to an intentional will that you are going to come to church and you are going to get involved even on a weekly basis. You have to sign up for a ministry. You have to make it a priority. You have to show up. We have to build relationships by spending time with each other, because relationships don't just happen. You need and I need to deliberately make time for them. So we make time by coming to church. We make time by becoming active and involved in ministry and in service. Grandmama said you got to work out your own soul salvation. So it's a part of our Christian duty and our Christian, I like to use this word a little better than duty, because sometimes we look at duty as a chore, but it is my responsibility